Thank you so much for joining us. I'm now at the French Residence Embassy and I'm here to interview Madame Stéphane Rivoal, the new French ambassador to Uganda. Welcome on the program, Madame Stéphane.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's a pleasure having you here. Speaking of election, you're saying France is going to come up with an election that will be in April. And of course, right now, the Republicans are preparing for a primary election to pick a candidate who will represent them. What is your view about the new U.S. President-elect, Donald Trump?
Donald Trump has been elected fair and square. I was with the U.S. ambassador here during the results, and this president was elected by the American people. That's how democracy works. I think that some of the speeches that were given by Donald Trump during the campaign were not aligned with the values that France is trying to defend, notably the freedom of speech, freedom of sexual orientation, and also equality between men and women, and solidarity with other people. These are three key values in France. So they were not aligned, and it triggered some concerns which were raised by President Hollande, and which I share. For Uganda and for Africa, I would say they're threefold. Climate change. If the U.S. is changing their mind on the Paris Agreement,
then we shall miss out on climate change resources and monitoring.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's very important. The defense, notably the peacekeeping mission. We would want the U.S. to continue to support the peacekeeping mission if they want to.
But Donald Trump says we shall have to pay for, for military.
This is why it's very concerning, and the U.S. has to be the U.S. The U.S. is one of the largest countries in the world, one of the wealthiest. It has to contribute. And the third one is development. How much money are they going to continue contributing to development and aid?
How do you plan to improve relations between Uganda and France now that you're the new ambassador incoming?
I'm hoping I don't have to improve that much. I'm hoping they're very good already. I want them to be more developed as much as possible. I will pursue the efforts of my predecessors in order to strengthen these ties. We have ties with the military, and we have new programs of training, notably for the mountains. We share mountains. We have some in France, you have some here. And in order to protect your frontiers at the mountain, you need to develop special skills, and we're here to help that. Development, we're increasing. That's number two. And any other joyful events that we can share.
What about
equipment,
sharing equipment, such as helicopters, drones, and the like? News technology, scientific technology.
For the moment, the French do not use that much drones. It's more U.S. technology. We have them, but we use them less so than the Americans. In terms of equipment, first we do the training, we assess the needs in equipment, and we will provide a solution for equipment. I'm not going to say it's for free. Most of these industries are selling this equipment, and at the moment the French military is using all the resources it has because of its presence in CAR, which we just went out, in Mali, and here, so in Somalia. We're trying to use up our capacities, and we'll share as much as we can.
And Uganda in the Great Lakes region is a key ally of the West, including France in the fight against terrorism. The last time you lost about 200 people in the attack. How do you plan to continue consolidating this relationship in terms of fighting terrorism in East Africa?
Well, this is why we have this military collaboration. We're training Ugandan soldiers who are going to be part of the AMISOM, which is the UN intervention in Somalia. And this is where terrorists can freely move around, being trained and developed on a soil which is now a danger for East Africa and will become a danger for the rest of the world. And this is why we were here, to help develop the competence so that Ugandan UPDF don't lose soldiers in the field, that these soldiers are working better and fight terrorism in the best way possible for their own sake and also for our sake back in France.
Okay. The West has been accused of turning a blind eye to Uganda's governance and rule of law, which is a record not to risk a relationship with a country deemed the anchorman of peace in the Great Lakes, and for its pacification role in the Horn of Africa. Is this not a problem?
The values is something that you don't compromise with. So Europe, together with our friends, we didn't do it on our own as a French people. We monitored the election process. There was a commission and we worked closely and we submitted our report. There were remarks there about how things could have been better in the press, in the way some areas of voting could not be accessed, and it could not be by observers who wanted to see how the election was taking place. So we were able to do this work of recommendation and observers of the process, and we put through the report, and there were some remarks in there. So we don't compromise with that. We have a dialogue. This is what I believe in, a dialogue. If you just tell someone, and we're from the West coming here, this is not our country, we're not at home here, this is your home, this is Uganda, we're just guests. So, and the way we do things in the West, is it much better? I'm not so sure. Things could also be improved in our own countries.
How much are you willing to fund the AMISOM and Uganda in Somalia? How much longer also?
Is funded. France is financing through the EU. This is how we do it. We do it multilaterally. And the EU is funding 178 million euros, which is, I'm not sure, 185, 190 million US dollars per year. So the funding from the EU is coming in. You may have heard about a reduction of this funding. It's because the plan was that the African Union was going to compensate in order for the total budget to remain the same. We'll see how the thoughts are going to move on this, but France is funding the AMISOM through the EU up to 178 million euros per year.
Thank you so much, Madame Stéphane Rivoal, the new ambassador, French ambassador to Uganda. It has been a pleasure interviewing you.